A fixture of the Charlotte skyline is celebrating a major milestone.
That's right. Bank of America's corporate center, the bank skyscraper headquartered in Uptown Charlotte, is turning 30 years old.
And we are joined now by former CEO of NationsBank and Bank of America, Mr. Hugh McColl. Mr. McColl, it's a pleasure to have you in this morning. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
When you look at this skyline and you look at the building there, is it hard to believe that we're now looking at 30 years since you had this grand vision?
Yes, it is hard to believe. Time runs away from you. You don't realize it's been that long.
Yeah.
But I like it. I still like it when I see it.
Well, good, because I don't think it's changing anytime soon. When you knew that you wanted to build something big and memorable in the Charlotte area, like what were these ideas that were coming to your mind?
Well, what I really wanted was a skyscraper instead of a tall building. In other words, there were a lot of tall buildings around that were flat tops or odd tops. Mm-hmm. And it was during an era when people were putting lots of strange tops on, and I didn't want that. I wanted a building that would last for a century. And I found an architect who in Caesar Pelli, who showed me what he could do, and we went all over the United States, but mainly to New York and Chicago, to look at really fine buildings whose attractiveness had lasted 50, 60, 70, 800 years. And so that was a building. I wanted to build a building that 100 years from now we'd say, that's still a great building. And so that's what he gave us.
Boy. And Mr. McColl, looking at the height of the building there, the FAA almost caused all this thing to go completely haywire, right?
Well, they wanted us to not build it as tall as we did because apparently a Cessna 421 couldn't clear the building if it took off on the cross runway. Huh. But I talked to Senator Hollins about it, and somehow that went away.
That is great. I've always imagined what the view from the top. I mean, you clearly have been to the very top of this building, right? What is that view like?
Well, you get to see the entire city, and it was very much an inspiration to me to look down on the city and see the vacant land and know what we could build there. It was like being an artist with a canvas. You could say, we could do this here and do that there. So it's really quite wonderful. And you can probably see your building here from the top of our tower.
Well, Mr. McColl, Charlotte is now known as a banking hub, but it wasn't always that way. A lot of people credit you with being the reason why Charlotte is a banking hub it is now. Can you speak about those early days when Charlotte was still growing and you making those acquisitions to make Charlotte the banking center it is now?
Well, to be very candid with you, Charlotte was a very dull city when I first got here. No whiskey by the drink, couldn't dance to live music. So I was trying to build a company. Being honest, I didn't like being little and having the Northerners have all the good business, and so I wanted to build a big bank. And I wanted to attract talent, and so it made me focus on developing the center city. And I was lucky to have a partner in our mayor, Harvey Gantt, who was a great designer and an architect and also a great mayor. And between the two of us, we managed to really build the center city during the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yeah.
And today, I was able to attract really talented people here.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And that's why I joke about it. We have more people from New Jersey here than New Jersey has living there. But that's partly because of the banks. We brought a lot of talent in from all over the world, and it helped give our city a flavor that it didn't have before.
Yeah, you both really were visionaries before your time. And in doing some of our research today about the building, I found fascinating, the building itself literally is built on top of a gold mine, which is ironic being a bank.
Well, it is on top of the gold mine, and it costs us a lot of extra money to shore it up when we punch through into the caverns below the building. There's also a river that runs down the center of our city. I don't think people really understand that. It kind of runs down Tryon Street, and so we had a lot of challenges as we built that building.
I can't imagine.
That's fascinating. I do want to ask you before we let you run here. So I know that you went into the Marine Corps for 2 years after being at UNC Chapel Hill, but how did you get into banking? Because did you know that you wanted to get in there, or how'd that happen?
Well, I majored in banking finance at Chapel Hill, but the truth of the matter is I didn't really know that I wanted to be a banker. My father sent me to Charlotte and said, son, I came home from the Marine Corps and asked him if what he wanted me to do, and he said, "We get along fine without you. You better go get a job with the American Trust Company." So I came up to Charlotte and got a job with the bank. And that's the first time I knew I was going to be a banker, really. And I was married or got married that year. And once you get married and have children, you know, your mind gets centered very quickly on making a living. So I was just trying to make a living.
Well, you have made a wonderful living, and now, you know, what started with this building here, and look how it's grown. The buildings continue to go up, and I guess every time you blink, does it feel like Charlotte is just completely changing?
Well, it's changing all the time, and of course, we built a lot of those buildings, our bank did, but we've been very pleased at the growth in the city, and what I really like about our city is an open city. You can be who you want to be here, and as long as we keep it that way, people will keep coming here.
I love it.
That's
Mr. McColl, thank you for your vision so many years ago. Happy 30th anniversary to the building there, and all that have come after you, that are the talent that you brought here and made our city what it is. Thanks for coming in and sharing some history today.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.